As the fires in California get worse, many people are comparing this to Maui. And of course, when the Maui wildfires happened, there were conspiracies abound. One of those theories was that the fire was started by space laser beams. That's right, folks, lasers from outer space. The question of which ethnic group was running those laser beams remains unknown. I'm kidding, by the way. But yeah, people actually thought that. It's absurd, guys. The transferring energy from that height in satellites to start a fire, it's very, very unlikely. I suppose if you had a ton of satellites all pointing in the same spot, maybe you could start a small fire, but it's silly because you don't need that for this conspiracy to exist. But anyway, I digress. The conspiracy was that it was intentional. The fires were started to wipe out the land so the government could seize it. Right now, there are similar conspiracy theories. With Gavin Newsom announcing his Marshall Plan and the suspension of environmental regulations, it's got many people thinking, is there something else behind this? Like, were you aware this would happen and you already have a plan in place? Now, my friends, I don't believe the conspiracy theories. I'm not a fan of that. You don't need the conspiracy theories to explain the incompetence of Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass, their fire chief, and all of that stuff. They've been warned. We knew these fires were possible. We knew the Santa Ana winds would be coming. There was a warning a week before. You don't need these conspiracy theories. You really, really don't. But I will tell you this. Democrats are famous for exploiting a crisis in order to benefit themselves. And that's what I think we're seeing. As the fire rampages through L.A., people like Gavin Newsom are simply saying, how do we maximize our benefit here? And of course, one of the controversies is the Act Blue controversy, which I've got a video coming up at 4 p.m. at youtube.com/Timcast for all of you. Big controversy there over how they're raising money during this disaster. But yeah, of course, Democrats exploit a crisis. I had a conversation with a liberal personality on Timcast IRL. And this had come up a few years ago. And he said, when else should they try to enact change? And that's their worldview. When a crisis strikes, instead of saying, we're going to take care of you, fix your homes, they say, no. How can we exploit this to our advantage? Which brings us to the series of conspiracies around the Marshall Plan, as Gavin Newsom calls it. From Deadline.com, Gavin Newsom in a Meet the Press interview talks of organizing Marshall Plan to rebuild L.A. after apocalyptic fires, which, of course, has people suspecting he may have known the whole time. Again, I don't think so. But let's jump over to this from First Post. Was it arson or Sean Diddy Combs? The conspiracy theories spreading like the L.A. wildfires. All right. Well, conspiracy theories are fun. Let's entertain what people think about what started these fires. I want to pause real quick and just say, we think we already know what started the fires. There was in the same location, a New Year's Eve celebration, which started a fire. The fire was put out. And the concern is the embers keep burning. It wasn't completely put out. And this may have been New Year's Eve revelers starting a fire on accident. Firefighters believing it was extinguished, but the embers still burned. And then a few days later, but who knows? We really don't. So let's go back and we'll talk about the conspiracy theories before we jump into what the Marshall Plan really is. I want to add what's one of the components of this conspiracy theory is that in the Meet the Press interview, it looks like a green screen. Like people are wondering why it is. This looks so fake. It's probably the camera stability, the lighting. It makes it look like Gavin Newsom is not, and I think that's, who's that? Jacob Sobroff? What's that guy's name? It makes it look like they're not really there. But anyway, conspiracies are more fun. So let's here we go. A directed energy weapon attack. Oh my God. As the wildfires ravage LA, it may have been caused by a direct energy weapon attack designed to erode humanity, according to one of the most widely spread conspiracy theories online. The theory gained traction after a video clip surfaced appearing to show an unidentified object flying through the sky during the fires. Really? Then another account identified as the Patriot Voice, wrote on X, our government, who is working hand in glove with the World Economic Forum and BlackRock, is purposefully setting fires using military-grade direct energy weapons in these areas to initiate massive land grabs. Many users drew parallels between the current wildfires and the devastating blaze in Lahaina last year. One user wrote, this has Maui written all over it. Same script, different location. Heartbreaking for those poor people. Many on social networks have said that palm trees standing tall in the face of fires are proof that it's the result of a directed energy weapon attack. Cars and homes are burned, but trees are still standing, suggesting that an apparent heat attack had deliberately targeted people's livelihoods. Okay, well, I'm not an expert, but it is harder to burn a tree that has water in it than a home which is made of dry wood. Okay, but I could be wrong. We've seen videos of the trees burning. They say there's little proof to make the claim credible. Currently, the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection is investigating the cause of the wildfire, which has been blazing for days. Also, many trees do survive wildfires because of their adaptation skills. For instance, thick barks of trees insulate the inner layers. Heat from the wildfire occurs at ground level and doesn't reach the tree canopy, especially if there's not very many trees around them. Still, many trees collapse. Incidentally, the use of directed energy weapons has been falsely linked with past wildfires too, including the ones in Hawaii and Texas. I'm going to pause you right there. You can't just say falsely. That implies you know for a fact. Well, we don't. It's just ridiculously unlikely and not necessary. My guy, my friends. Some of you may be saying like, Tim's dismissing it. But dude, if Gavin Newsom or any other politician wanted a fire, they need only flick a cigarette. You don't need to get a laser gun, directed energy weapon, a blast. You don't need it. You can literally just say, flick a cigarette. Silly. It's terrifying. 15-minute cities. Ooh, here's another theory. Another theory is that Newsom and Biden want to implement 15-minute cities. The concept of urban planning, where daily necessities and services are within 15 minutes of a walk, a bike ride, or a transit trip, has become a recurring theme of conspiracy theories. Okay, well, first of all, it's a real idea. 15-minute cities, they actually do want. But how do you actually build a 15-minute city in a place like LA that's already developed? It would have to be destroyed. That's actually the most plausible thing in my opinion. But you don't actually think? I think that's the Marshall Plan. Is this the, here we go, deadline. I think what's actually more likely is that because of these disasters, they rush in and say, now's our chance. I don't think they start the disasters, especially in the Palisades, because these people are their donors. The idea that Democrats would wipe out one of their largest donor blocks so they could build a 50-minute city is ridiculous. If the government was going to do a laser weapon, they'd burn down a small Bumpkinville city or, like a smaller town where the insurance payouts or the size would justify intervention, but not the Palisades. It's all Hollywood. It's all these celebrities who are dumping millions of dollars into their campaigns. I don't know. People still believe it. Let me play this video from, we got this clip from Human David Hamati. He said, this should frighten you. Gavin Newsom said his Marshall Plan. We already have a team reimagining LA 2.0. What? He's already had the team pre-fire? This means no single family zoning, public transit for all, equity, climate, DEI agenda. We need new leaders, et cetera, et cetera. Let me play the clip for you from Meet the Press.
Over the course of the next several years, Los Angeles will be host to the World Cup.
Or it's NBC News, sorry.
And then the Super Bowl, and then the Olympics. Yeah. With this rebuilding effort needing to take place, is LA going to be ready for all of those global events?
My humble position, and it's not just being naively optimistic, that only reinforces the imperative moving quickly, doing it in the spirit of collaboration and cooperation. President of the United States, Donald Trump, to his credit, was helpful in getting the Olympics to the United States of America, to get it down here in LA. We thank him for that. This is an opportunity for him to shine, for this country to shine, for California and this community to shine. The opportunity with all of that and all that opportunity and that pride and spirit that comes from not just hosting those three iconic games and venues, but also the opportunity, I think, to rebuild at the same time. And that's why we're already organizing a Marshall Plan. We already have a team of looking and reimagining LA 2.0, and we're making sure everyone's included, not just the folks on the coast, people here that were ravaged by this disaster.
You just said you're organizing a Marshall Plan for the rebuilding of California. What is that Marshall Plan? Tell us about this Marshall Plan.
We're just starting to lay out. I mean, we're still fighting these fires. So we're already talking to city leaders. We're already talking to civic leaders. We're already talking to business leaders and nonprofits. We're talking to...
It was Meet the Press. I thought I was right about that. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. I do think it's funny that it looks like a green screen, but I want to point out, Democrats are going to exploit a crisis. That's what they're going to do. Okay. And to progressive activists who like Gavin Newsom and live in that smarmy reality, this is exactly what they want and exactly what they vote for. They're like, the governor has put together a team. He's got a plan. He's going to rebuild LA 2.0. Now we can sit here and criticize it and say, give people the decentralized capability to rebuild their homes and live the lives the way they choose. But Democrats are authoritarian. They're going to say, no, this is our chance to take over, come down with an iron fist and a boot and stop the climate change or the climate crisis. Now, granted, Newsom's going to be suspending, here we have the story here, suspending landmark environmental laws to ease rebuilding wildfire zones. Rules for thee, but not for me, Gavin Newsom. But that's the reality of what we're looking at. I love this because as there are claims of conspiracies, the media once again can't help themselves. Why right-wing influencers are blaming the California wildfires on diversity efforts? Because you don't have enough firefighters. You fired many for not getting vaccinated, and you refuse to hire white people. That's the idea. Welcome to California, my friends. I see in this country we have a deep problem. And the concern that I see is the disparate worldviews are at such odds with each other they can't coexist. We who don't live in California are terrified by what they do. Granted, Donald Trump it's just about 1 week from, well, literally a week from being inaugurated. And we're going to be here. The confirmation hearings are beginning this week. So I'm not going to sit here and wallow in self-pity over what I think Democrats might be trying to exploit. I am going to sit here and cross my fingers that Trump's administration is going to make positive moves against this stuff. But we will see, my friends. Look, I wish the people of LA the best of luck. I don't trust Gavin Newsom, but I don't believe the conspiracy theories either. I do think Democrats are exploiting this for personal gain and then some. I'll wrap it up there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all then.